I dreamed of being a basketball coach one day. And so I played college basketball for Georgia State University. And I thought I was just going to be a coach. And then when I first started teaching, they said, hey, we need a science teacher. I still remember the first day I went in the classroom and I started teaching. And I even, about 3/4 of the way through the day, I turned my head and I looked out the window and I said, excuse me for a second, somebody needs me out in the hallway. And I walked out in the hallway and nobody was there, I was by myself, and out loud I went, I can't believe they pay me to do this. And so I just fell in love with the classroom. And so I started teaching. A friend of mine wrote me one day and said, Dickey, you need to become an administrator at a high school. And I thought, well, that's really nice of him to say. And he wrote me a big long letter on why I needed to do that. And then 2 weeks after that, my former principal called me and said, I've got the perfect job for you. And I said, what is it? He said, I want you to come here to this school. It was outside of Atlanta. And he said, I want you to be a student intervention specialist. And I said, that sounds really important. What is it? And he says, we have these kids that are falling through the cracks in our school. It's a large high school, and I want you to get to know those kids, and I want you to figure out ways for them to be successful. 6 years later, Charles Mason walks in my office and says, are you ready to be principal now? And I said, of course I am, not really thinking about that. And so on July 1st, 2002, I became the principal at Mount Brook High School. And I was principal for 6 years, and they built this building, and I took Charles Mason, we went to lunch and we were talking, and I said, hey, you just built this big, beautiful building. Surely you're not retiring right now because you got to work in the building you built, right? And he said, yeah, he said, I think I'm gonna work a couple more years. He goes, what are you gonna do? I was completely off guard, and so I said, well, I think I'd like to be a personnel director. And he said, as my stretch goal, I think I'd like to be a superintendent at a small school district, just not one named Mountain Brook. And he says, well, why not Mountain Brook? And I was like, well, because it's one of the best school systems in the nation, and I've never been a superintendent before. Why would they want me? And he said, well, because you know the culture, you know the people, and you know what we do here. That's why they would want you. He goes, in fact, I think you should be the next superintendent. And sure enough, I became the assistant to the superintendent for a year. I did it for about 3 months, was completely overwhelmed, but felt like, hey, I probably should give this a shot. And so I applied for the job, and 14 and a half years later, I'm sitting in this chair talking to you. I love people, and I love to see the best out of people. It really doesn't matter if I'm superintendent or if I'm principal or if I'm assistant basketball coach. I want to see the best out of people. I want to help people become their best self. I just happen to have the role as superintendent, and so my passion is not to be a superintendent. I never really dreamed of being a superintendent. My passion is to help people be the best they can be in life. It's not as personal as it is being an assistant basketball coach. So I don't have these deep conversations with students about where they want to go to college or what they want to do or how I can help them be a better person. But now in my role is to help others be that person that has those conversations with students. I hope that the future for Alabama schools looks bright in the sense that our students are given the opportunity to learn things they've never been able to learn before, that they have the resources that makes them better, not just in learning, but in becoming a better person, so that when students go to their high school, their elementary school, their middle school, whether they go to college or straight to work, that they give back to the community and they build this place called Alabama into just a phenomenal place to live with quality people. I guess I want to leave a legacy where people have the opportunity, and I've said this several times, to be their best self. I just want to care for people deeply, know people deeply, and help them be their best as they help me and we share in this life together. I wouldn't have been a principal if it wasn't for my wife, because she stabilized me. There's no way I would have been a superintendent without Charles Mason pouring into me, or I wouldn't be a good superintendent without my central office supporting me and us working together. And like a teacher said today, she said, "Congratulations on being Superintendent of the Year." And I said, "You know what? I wouldn't have been Superintendent of the Year if you wouldn't have been doing your job well." So we all kind of help each other be better. And that's just what I want to do.